response to the outrageous and unconscionable announcement by Anthem Blue Cross that it was going to be raising its rates by up to 39% on its 800,000 policyholders in the individual health market. And just to put that in perspective, there are roughly 2.4 million, maybe as many as 3 million Californians who only get their insurance in the individual market. They don't have an employer organization, they don't have a union, they don't have access to a group plan. And that's a very, very difficult market to begin with. But to hit 1/3 of that market with an up to 39% rate increase on top of double-digit rate increases that have followed year after year after year is particularly troubling. And so I invited the CEO of Anthem Blue Cross to come to the legislature and explain to the public what they were doing. And initially she declined, and then I mentioned the word subpoena, and so she came. And we were delighted to have her. Delighted to have her. And sometimes it helps to be a lawyer. In any event, what we discovered, and what I discovered through the questions that I asked of her was truly outstandingly troubling. One is that Anthem Blue Cross, from 2007 to 2009, has made $3 billion in profits that they have upstreamed to their parent company, WellPoint, in Indiana, in the form of dividends. $3 billion at a time when so many companies are closing their doors, laying off their people, and nobody's making that kind of money. WellPoint, in 1 year alone last year, made $4.7 billion in profits. I also discovered that Anthem Blue Cross has close to $1 billion in surpluses, in excess of what the regulators require them to have to meet policyholder claims. So this is essentially just a large pot of money that they're sitting on, $1 billion, in excess of what they need to meet claims. And in addition, we discovered as well that through non-competitive contracts that Anthem Blue Cross of California enters into with WellPoint affiliates outside the state, they're also moving money outside the state. It caused one official in the Schwarzenegger administration even to describe them as basically treating California as though we are an ATM. And that's precisely the problem. And Blue Cross is not alone. Other insurers as well have been foisting double-digit increases on Californians year after year. In fact, from 1999 to the present, on average, there's been about 135% increase in premiums. Now, the other question I had for her is any of that actually going into health care? And I know the answer from the physical therapist, because what's happening to you, and you're not alone, what's happening to provider after provider, critically essential, important medical services, is that Blue Cross and others are squeezing down what they reimburse you for to a point where you're not even covering your costs. And the notion that they would do that in a way that sets a lower reimbursement if you're not in a physician's office is outrageous to me. And just another example of the lengths they're going to basically take advantage of and use their overweening market power to bludgeon providers into taking rates lower than they should have to take. Now, one thing I mentioned at the hearing was I talked to a number of providers who have actually received 2 letters from Anthem Blue Cross. One letter as a medical provider, basically telling them, gee, we don't have any money, we've got to lower your rates. And a second letter as a Anthem Blue Cross policyholder. These are medical providers who received these 2 letters. A second letter as an Anthem Blue Cross policyholder telling them, oh gosh, those darn physicians and nurses and physical therapists and others keep jacking up their rates, and so we're going to have to increase your premiums. So they're saying both things at the same time, and both certainly are true. But in between the two of these things, in between the squeezing down of the reimbursement and the jacking up of the premiums, is where they're taking enormous and unconscionable profits. So I think that there's a very, very simple solution here, and it's to do exactly what we did very successfully in California in 1988 when the voters passed Proposition 103. You remember at that time, California had the highest auto insurance premium rates in the nation, of any state in the nation. And the voters rose up and passed Proposition 103, which imposed direct rate regulation on auto, property, and casualty insurance. And I think that health is no less important than our automobiles, and then we got to directly regulate the rates of the health insurers and the HMOs. Directly regulate and give ourselves the authority as a state to reject these excessive rate increases, and also the authority to make sure that they put more money into healthcare. Right now, the standard in the individual market is an abysmally low 70 cents on every dollar they collect has to go to healthcare. Think of that. For every premium dollar that people are paying in the individual market, 70 cents only has to go to healthcare. 30 cents gets to be kept by the insurance company. It's an outrageously low standard, and it's one that they manipulate. So we need to change that standard as well and impose on them a standard that puts more of the money they're collecting directly into healthcare, so we can make sure that providers such as yourselves are reimbursed for the essential and important services that you're providing. So I hope you'll support Assembly Bill 2578. It's our intention to have the bill heard on March 23rd in the Assembly Health Committee. As you can imagine, we've been getting emails and calls and letters from across the state of people who are really up against the wall and who are joining us in supporting this, and we hope to have your support as well. And finally, I want to thank you for the work that you're doing in so many communities to help people become well again. And I've enjoyed a very close relationship with physical therapists in this community. I've actually consulted one occasion. And I just want to thank you for the work you're doing, and also thank you for this organization and the way in which you engage in the legislature to make sure that people understand the importance of the work you do and the importance of making sure that work is supported. So thank you very, very much.